grandma said something really, really smart. She said, you don't have to study something you're interested and you have like the passion, but it's good if it's so. You have to study something that you're good at, and then it will work out fine.
A warm welcome to Young Voices, an intercultural podcast. We are Young at Mission 21, and with this podcast, we want to give young people from all over the world a voice. Thanks to everyone for joining us on this journey to listen, learn, and grow together.
Hello, everyone. Here it's Barbara and
Sarah.
Calling for the podcast this time. We are very happy to be together today with Sandra. Sandra is a former youth ambassador. You have already heard a lot of youth ambassadors. She was actually participating in the first youth ambassador program that Mission 21 ran in 2016 to 18. So it's a big pleasure. She's still in our network. She participated there, and maybe she will tell also later on a little bit about her experience. Sandra is calling from Vienna, which is in Austria, which is really close to Switzerland. Sarah, have you been in Vienna?
No, I haven't been there yet.
Really? Oh, it's beautiful. And you can go by trains. You don't even have to fly there. So
yeah, I've heard, yeah.
It's a nice place. I really like the city. So I'm very happy to learn more. Also learn more about Austria and Vienna, which is close, but still there are things we don't know. So a warm welcome to you, Sandra.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
Really nice having you with us. How are you?
I'm fine. It's a national holiday today, so I've slept in and had a nice start in the day.
And in your window, it looks like the sun is shining, so it's a good day with sun.
Yes, it's really warm outside, like not typically for November, but yeah.
Unusually, yeah, it's here the same actually. So where are you calling from? Where are you sitting at the moment?
I'm in my room at home in a town near Vienna. Like I'm not living in Vienna, just like a few kilometers from the border to Vienna. Yes.
So, and you're staying at home because it's a national holiday and you have time to do the podcast with us.
Yes, exactly.
So if somebody
Do you have any other plans for today?
Yeah, a friend of mine finished her master, and she did really good. So we are celebrating this today in the evening.
And that was so great. Congratulations.
Yes, we are already right into the topic. We had a pre-call, Sandra and I, and we talked a little about what the topic will be today. And the focus, not only about that, but also focusing on the studies and how studying works and about your studies you did. So you will give us an impression. So we are excited to learn about that. So you're already into the topic. So you have a friend who's celebrating today. I think you also had to celebrate something in the past or in the past month.
I finished my master like 1 month ago. And today I start my PhD studies and also my new job as a university assistant. Yeah, it was really, really cool and really tough to finish the master's because I only had 3 semesters for a 4 semesters program. So
Wow.
It was a lot of work in little time, but I'm happy that it worked out.
So now the big question, Sarah. I don't know if maybe she knows it. Do you know what she studied, Sarah?
No, I don't.
No. So we do a guessing. So what do you think she made her master's in?
Microbiology?
No.
completely different.
It's really different to that.
International relations?
It's close. That's my second master's program I'm in.
Oh, so you have one guess. It's really hard and it's kind of unfair to just push you into it. But
I see green and blue in the background, so I was... No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was studying theology.
Oh.
And I finished that, and now I make my PhD in church history.
Do you already know a little bit more on the subject?
Yes, I will focus on Pope George the First. It's like the 6th century, 5th, 6th century, and his writings too, and about women. Yeah, have a look how he had a network with which women did he write. He wrote a lot with women, and I want to have like two perspectives, like one to how he wrote to women and how he wrote about women, because maybe that's not the same every time. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. So that's really amazing, and it's so like a lot of, how do you say, research, right, to find this specific part, but it's a very interesting focus.
Yeah, I wrote my master thesis about women and their way to knowledge, like about two women and very specific biographies, like one in the social network, how to provide other women with knowledge and also like with money and other things, and one woman about how she gets to the place where she's one of the famous women in the academic field in the 16th century, 17th century. So yeah, so I like that kind of topics.
And are you talking about theological education, theological knowledge, or knowledge in general?
In general, but like in these times, it's more theological knowledge, because like, yeah, the church and it's a big topic in Europe. So it's a good way to argue for knowledge and for education for women in the field of theology. So to be a good Christ.
That's really interesting. I was thinking, I want to go into this topic and learn more. So I think we have to do like maybe one podcast about your master thesis, because I really feel the topic you wrote about and the women is a very interesting topic. Sarah, are you very familiar with these studies, like with theology, or is it the same to you, like to me, like a new field?
It's more a new field for me, theology, yes.
Yes, we have jumped into the topic right away. Yeah, I think you started your PhD, so we might come back to you and follow up. I'm curious why you decided to study theology.
That's a funny story, because first I started studying pharmacy, and then I went to the youth ambassador program, and there were a lot of theology students, and I wanted to talk with them because they talked a lot about theology, and I was sitting there like, nice, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I started studying theology, and now I'm here doing my PhD. So it worked really fine. Yeah, I never guessed that I would do that.
You would never have guessed yourself before, like that.
No.
That's really interesting. That's so funny, Sarah. Now the microbiology is not that far away from pharmacy.
You see?
I think, yeah.
I had a feeling.
You get some credits for your guess, I feel. I assumed it's the same thing, but maybe it's not. I think here in Switzerland, it is unusual to study theology, and not a lot of people are doing it. Is it the same in your context, like in Austria, in your environment?
It's very special, and most people I get to know now, like when they don't know me and my history, they're like, so why? Because I don't want to work in church. So it's normally, if you study theology, you will work in church like a few years after. And then so what can you do with that if you studied that? But I think it's more special to study like Protestant theology, and it's more common to study like Catholic theology because that's separated in Austria. I don't know how it is in Switzerland. There are a few more students, but they are getting less and less because, church is not that in a good place. But like we are like really little faculty, and with only about 120 students all in all. So really familiar.
So maybe to explain to the international listeners, so in Austria, the Christian people, most of them are Catholics. Is it that way, or is it not? Or is it something I just feel from Switzerland? It's like that.
Yeah, most of them are Catholic. There is a big change because like 20 years ago, like 90% of the people in Austria were Catholic. Now they are less than 50%.
Okay.
And quite a group is like Christian, but not in the Catholic or in the Protestant church kind of way. Like they're more evangelical or some kind of different thinking.
Denomination, is it? Yeah, or
it's
so
not like
independent churches, kind of.
Yeah, in Austria they are not not a church, so it's more like they believe in something that would be similar to Christianity, but they are not like in a church by law.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people atheists, and then we have a lot of people like Buddhists and Muslims, and it's getting more interreligious. So
more diverse too. So your personal, like your friends and family also were surprised that you choose to study.
Yeah, they were really surprised that I go from science, natural science to theology.
But I assume so far that you do the PhD, and also I feel when I hear, and as our listeners know, we always are on video call, so we can see Sandra at the moment. So when I see you talking about theology, you don't regret your decision.
Absolutely not. I think it was a really good decision. It played out really good, and I have a nice job and good topic to search on and study. So I think my grandma said something really, really smart. She said, you don't have to study something you're interested and you have like the passion, but it's good if it's so. You have to study something that you're good at, and then it will work out fine. And I think that's what I did. So it worked out really good.
And I think what you talked about your master thesis and also the PhD topic you're having now, it kind of shows how theology is so closely, like not only I think Christian, like all the religions, even if you would study maybe something else, but like how it is related to history, like you said, it's really close. You cannot like split it up, and how it maybe shows how society maybe worked in that time, the relationship between male and female people. And I think it's kind of to shows how relevant it is to understand maybe the whole history, or that religion is relevant to understand societies and maybe also structures that are existing.
Yeah, because in history, the church played a really, really important role. Also, nowadays, I think you can't just exclude religion or church or beliefs, because it's part of the society, and it played such a great and big role, and had a lot of influence on like laws and how the school built and how everything works. Can't just say, here you have like church and there is society and there is history. You have to like think all together.
I think here in Europe, in a lot of places in Europe, we are tended to try to separate, especially in the daily life, like maybe in the present, that we don't want that religion is related to politics or to society. This has a lot of reasons, and I'm not saying it's not right, but it's a big topic for us in Mission 21 too, because when we talk with our partners, they're mostly living in societies or in a context where religion, not depending really which religion, but religion is part of the daily life, and it's part of society. You cannot just separate it. It's always together. So this is like, I think in the history too, but I think today here in Europe, a lot of times they think, we separate it, we put it away, but we cannot really ignore it, because it's like you say, it is there, and it has been forming the society like they are. So you cannot just exclude it or cut it away. I don't know the word.
Interwoven.
Thank you. Together.
Yeah, and also it influenced our thinking and how we learn to think about things, and how like the people learned to think in specific fields. But I think that's something new. So we have to go back and see how it worked out, like how people thought like 200 years ago, because that's how our society works, because there are built some laws or something like that, and it influenced so much that even if you can now say that a lot of places are separated and the church or religion do not influence everything, but like in the history, so there was the influence, and it built up and up and up.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's always right. I think it's really important to look at it critically and see maybe also where it hasn't been a good influence, for sure. But it is, important to see it as a whole thing. So you're living in Austria, which is not a big country, like Switzerland isn't. Have you always lived in Austria?
Yeah, my whole life.
You grew up
near Vienna, and then I moved to Vienna, and then I moved out of Vienna, near to my hometown again.
If you tell somebody about your country, what would you say?
It's difficult, because Austria is very, very different. Like, it's when you are in the east or in the west, it's different. They are speaking maybe not even the same language. Somebody said it's German, but with an accent, really strong accent. And a lot of people living in the east don't understand the west. So there are different traditions, different words. There's a lot of variation inside the country. But if I have to describe Vienna, where most of the people would go for like holidays or seeing Austria, I think it's often described as one of the unpolitest cities.
What? Really?
because Viennese people are grantig, like they are not very polite. But I think that's a wrong kind of thinking, because you have the grantig sign.
Sarah, do you have a translation for grantig?
No, honestly, I don't even know what it means in German.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's true, actually. Grumpy. Is it grumpy, actually? It is kind of grumpy. Grumpy is more
yeah,
a word for children, I know. But
yeah,
yeah.
it's like being a little bit nosy and like, you're like a tourist, I don't talk to you, kind of that, but
A little rude, like now, yeah, and kind of
like,
closed up, right? Not very open. Is it also? Not really, yeah.
no, not open. I think it's more like a character thing. I don't know.
Okay.
It's not like being unpolite or being rude or grumpy or do not want to talk to other people. It's more like a lifestyle.
And you feel it's more the picture people have of Vienna?
Yes, it's more the
Really
picture.
the way it is.
There are people who kind of present this picture because it's in the media and it's also in. I don't know, because if you go around in Vienna and you have a question and you can just ask, and maybe the second person will help you if it's not the first person. So they're really open, and I don't think that that's the right picture given for Austria, Vienna.
Did you know about that picture, Sarah? I have never heard.
No, actually, I have a contrary picture of people from Austria and Vienna. But
really, that's interesting.
What is your picture?
I only have met quite nice people from Vienna, so I have met people from Vienna before, and they were all very nice. I didn't feel like they were mean or something.
Interesting.
I didn't know about the stereotype either.
Really, it's interesting because in our media, like international newspaper, there is always a ranking on the unpolitest cities, and Vienna is always in the top places. And everybody makes fun of that because it's obviously not right, but yeah.
I think my picture is more kind of a lot of traditions, and I think a lot of history. And like I'm really adding it to Sissi. So I cannot explain the Sissi here actually, but yeah, so it's my connections, and I think there's a big castle, so I think it has this, I don't know what, so it's not really the people, maybe it's more the place I have a picture of.
Yeah, history is one of the most topics in Austria. Like you go to Austria to see a lot of Habsburger history, like monarchy and stuff like that. But also like after the World War II, Vienna was one of the diplomatic cities where there was meeting a lot of people from all over the world, basically, and like the East-West conflicts always meet in Vienna. So there was a lot of spy in Vienna, like a lot of stories about that. So there's a lot of fun stories also.
I know there is a picture of what Austrian people are eating, but what is your favorite food that you like the most? Maybe it's not even Austrian, but maybe it's a local food, but maybe it's not.
Maybe for local food, I like Frittatensuppe. It's like a soup with where you cut pancakes in like little stripes, then put it in the soup.
Yeah.
But like for my favorite dish beside Austrian dishes, I would say it's like tortillas. That's my favorite food, I guess. I would say.
I just had them for lunch. I mean, not original ones for sure, but yeah, I like them too. Do you like to cook? Do you cook often yourself or?
No. I'm happy that my boyfriend liked to cook.
Oh, that's good.
So when I'm cooking for a lot of people, and fancy food, that's my kind of thing, but like not for me or for two people. I don't like that because so much work and so much time consuming stuff for not that many people and not that good output. When you can sit together and enjoy your meal in a bigger group, it's more kind of my thing.
So you kind of like invite people and they do a fancy meal where you cook like almost all day and planning.
Yeah,
and
cool. That's more mine.
Okay.
To bake. Baking is mine.
Okay.
What do you like baking?
Like cakes or Zimtschnecken.
Oh, I love
Cinnamon rolls?
Zimtschnecken. Is it cinnamon rolls?
I think that's certainly. I don't know.
That's especially at the time now in autumn and winter. I love them. So if you come to Switzerland to visit, you bring your cinnamon rolls the next time.
I will remember that.
Is there something else you like to share about the place you're living in, about your country, or about Vienna?
The place where I am living, there are a lot of Weinberge. Wine hills?
Vineyards.
Yes. So we can have a nice walk through them and pick some. You aren't allowed to do that. So, but you can pick some.
You could.
Yeah, but that's really nice. So, especially if you have like this weather today, you can go there and have a nice walk.
So is it more countryside? It's not really like you have nature around you? Or is it close to the city life?
Both. Like we're really at the border. So I need like 20 minutes to Vienna. And I have like 10 minutes away the nature and some hills and a national park, actually. So, So there is a lot of nature, but the city is not that far. So you can have the best of both worlds.
I just want to say it sounds perfect.
Sounds like a really nice place to live at.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool, but there is like not the best train connection in the night. So that's like the downside. But you can work with that. Like there are ways.
So no nightlife in Vienna for you.
Maybe I'm too late.
You prefer drinking some wine at home from the vineyards.
With some good fancy meal.
Yeah. And some cinnamon rolls in the end and some tea. Oh, what a nice evening.
Perfect.
You have an international audience now. Is there something you would like to share or to add or to share with our listeners?
I don't know, but maybe go for that what you are good at and then the passion comes. I think that's what I've learned. Listen to your gut.
Yeah, I had to think a little bit about what you said before about your grandma. And I thought it's interesting that you really felt it wasn't a passion in the beginning, but that it can turn out to be your passion if you're good at it. So that's a really wise word from your grandma, like you said.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, thank you. It was a really big pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And we're sending greetings to Austria. Have a good day. Enjoy celebrating your friend. And thank you so much, Sandra. We highly appreciated the time with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we say a goodbye and see you or hear you another time. And all the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good time, and if you haven't already, follow Young Admission 21 on Instagram and Facebook, where you can learn more about us and our projects. There you also have the opportunity to ask questions to our podcast guests. And don't forget, always listen to the voices around you.